So last week, me and my wife was reading, and she decided we should read through an Old Testament book called Haggai. And honestly, I'm not sure I've actually ever read through it myself, and she said she never had. It's a small book, it's only 2 chapters long. It's one of the minor prophets, but I thought it had some interesting things in there that can be applied to our life now. And if if you want, I would encourage you to just go through get online and Google the history that what's going on this time during Haggai. And so Haggai takes place after the Babylonian captivity, when the Israelites were captives of Babylon, and they were dispersed not only to Babylon but throughout the Babylonian Empire. During this time, the Persians come through and develop their empire, overthrow the Babylonians, and right now Israelites are back in Israel and they're living there. And so then their job, what they wanted to do, what their job was to rebuild the temple. And Haggai comes along, and being a speaker for God, being the Lord's mouthpiece, tells the people that, beginning in chapter 1, that they haven't rebuilt the temple. They haven't even started rebuilding the temple. And yet, what Haggai says is, yet they live in paneled houses, which meaning they're not living in tents. They're living in, I guess, especially for them at the time, after being in captivity, in exile from their homeland for so long. I believe it was 70 years. To come back, and they're not living in tents. They're living in what he says paneled houses, so a nice house. All of them are doing that, but they haven't started rebuilding the temple, which is what they were supposed to do, what they were supposed to do before they did anything. So, verse 5, he says, now therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. He says, you have sown much and harvested a little. You eat, but you never have enough. You drink, but you never have your fill. You clothe yourselves, but no one is warm. And he who earns wages does so, and to put them into a bag with holes. So the Lord is saying, you're doing all these things, you're trying hard to be successful, but yet you're not aiming. Your highest goal isn't the Lord, and at this time the temple. And if your goal isn't divinely inspired and led by God, then everything that you're doing, no matter how hard you try, it's not going to be successful, and definitely not going to be as successful as if you were doing something that the Lord wanted you to do. And what they're doing, having a nice, sturdy, warm, dry home, and having successful harvest, and not starving and not thirsty, having warm clothes and earning wages, that's nothing bad to desire and to do. But that's what they're doing. They see themselves as the highest goal, and not the highest goal of being the Lord, and what does the Lord want me to do. And what the Lord wanted them to do at this time was rebuild the temple. Throughout Haggai, they are discouraged because they are afraid that they won't be able to rebuild the temple as it was before, to rebuild Solomon's temple and the glory that was built. But the Lord told me, so go up and just, starting in verse 7, it says, go up to the, wait a minute, I'm sorry. So anyway, but the Lord tells them, just start building it. And Um, so they start building, and then they start building just the foundation, and things start turning around for them. And in chapter 2, verse 19, it says, Is the seed yet in the barn? Indeed, the vine and fig tree, the pomegranate and olive tree have yielded nothing. But from this day on, I will bless you. So the people eventually, throughout, like I said, just a small book of Haggai, they start, and then some Samaritans come along, see what they're doing. They tell the Persian government, "Hey, this is going on. They need to stop." The Persian government tells them so, but then Persians get a new leader. I can't remember if they get a new king or a new governor of the area. But either way, they get a new one, and then again, they allow the building of the temple. So, to me, how we can use that, if it's not already obvious, is ourselves. What is our highest goal? Is it wrong? They want. Is it wrong to want a nice house? Is it wrong to want to have food in the fridge and warm clothes and clothes that fit and good shoes and a reliable car and all those things that really simple and almost necessities. It's not wrong to do that, but our society is, unfortunately, that things have become our God in a lot of ways, and our status and our jobs and how we present ourselves, how we look, which is nothing wrong with when you look presentable, but just what comes along with with that status. And so things become our God. Ourselves, we worship ourselves, maybe other people, when our number one goal and priority, the pinnacle of what we're aiming for, should be the Lord and what He desires us to do. And of course, at this time, being Old Testament, it's the temple, and that's where the Lord resided. But of course, now the Lord is not confined to the temple. And but are we building His kingdom? Are we building the church, and not the church building, or the church building you attended, or the church building you see driving down the road? Well, are you building the church, the people? Are you building that? Are you adding new members? Are you making the existing members stronger? Are you making yourself stronger, of course, too? And I'm as bad as anybody else. I've done business endeavors that have failed, and other things that I never asked God, do you want me to do this? At least I don't think I ever did. And and when you start doing things that the Lord wants you to do, most times it's going to be things you're uncomfortable with, things that seem even maybe weird, a little bizarre, different. Those things become more successful than you ever imagined. And even with just a little bit of effort on your part, it goes further than when you were doing it by trying to do something else by yourself. Just a short story, and I'm very careful about these kind of stories about how the Lord has blessed me, and because it can be very emotional at times, and I think the physical body, but yet our emotions too, can get in the way and be thought of being spiritual instead of just realize it's emotions or even physical things that happen. But I was moved to this current house we're at, and we got some furniture for the bedroom, got a bed and some nightstands and a couple of cheaper dressers off of Amazon. But for the living room, all we had was a futon to sit on, which worked. But it wasn't most comfortable. And so I asked God, I think one morning when I was doing a little reading by myself early in the morning, I asked God, I said, it's weird to ask. I can't remember how I said it, but basically, would you, if you're willing, I don't know how because we don't have the money to, but somehow be able to get us a couch that is comfortable for us and a pantry for the kitchen because my wife does a lot of baking and cooking and whatnot. So, and I only prayed for it once, a simple prayer, and it felt kind of silly to even ask. But I don't think it was more than 2 weeks later. One job site we started, brand new couch, no problems with it, but the owner wanted to get rid of it. So I took it. And another job we started was a kitchen remodel and a nice pantry cabinet. Wanted to get rid of it. So I took it. And so just like that, got 2 nice items, nice pantry, nice couch for free. And so just simple things like that. Like I said, I'm very careful about that being God ordained, but I do believe it was Him because we weren't no other way going to be able to get something what nice as what we got, even if we did spend the little money we had. So just those things alone, asking God for guidance. How do you want me to approach this situation? What do you want me to do? Goes a long way, and then listening to the answer. And like I said, sometimes it may be comfortable, uncomfortable, or sometimes it might be no, or sometimes it might be wait. But along all those things, again, the biggest thing is building the temple, not building the temple, but building the church and building the Lord's kingdom. And just that little thing, I really emboldened my faith a little more in the Lord to not ask for more things, but to ask for more guidance. That's the biggest thing. And not let us be discouraged that we're afraid we might not be able to, might not look good as people thought. The temple, the psalmist temple, they heard stories and they knew how it was built and how it looked, and they was afraid they'd never be able to look like that again. And then the Samaritans which they had been feuding with forever, got the government officials involved and told them they can't build it. And eventually they started. No matter things came along, a new government was in place, new leader got approved where they can do it, and then they continued building. And so the Lord blessed them when they obeyed Him. So I feel like maybe I was a little long-winded this time, but again, ask for guidance and then try to follow through with it even when it's uncomfortable and different and maybe even a little weird. That's what we're here for. So anybody who watches these videos, I appreciate it. And thanks.